Greetings in the spirit of gratitude. My name is Keegan Anatol of the family Mead, formerly Morozovich, and the clan of Lankovsky, and the Trekmans on my mother's side. I was born and raised in the land of California, although I've lived in many places across 4 continents all around this beautiful earth. And I aspire to be a world citizen, if you will, a borderless free spirit. So part of the intention for me personally with this summit is to help create and bring into being a world that is conducive for the thriving of somebody like me. And so welcome to the Aquarian Renaissance Indigenous Revival Summit, where during 5 days we'll be exploring a luminous spectrum of perspectives to help us transcend both evil and victimhood, showing us the way to a world of mutual reverence and regenerative relationships. During this presentation, I'm going to be sharing some of my insights in the format of wordplay and parsing language for the revelations and realizations that it can reveal to us. And I'll be sharing an embodiment exercise, an opportunity for us to drop in together into a meditative experience to help us connect with our feeling nature and our body intelligence. This is a more ancient form of knowing and understanding that's available. Our intuitive, our instinctual, and there's a lot of value that we're going to be exploring on the mental level during these 5 days. But I encourage you to integrate it at the deeper level with the intelligence of your body and your feeling nature. Also, I'll be sharing a bit about where I see us going forward from this summit, where I imagine we can explore further to move in this direction of regenerative relationships and mutual reverence and transcending evil and transcending victimhood. I want to give credit to all these amazing speakers, and I want to give credit to you because as more and more people are realizing, this life is a mysterious co-creative process. We don't just consume it. It doesn't just happen to us or even for us. We aren't victims of life, and we aren't passive beneficiaries. We are co-creative, co-participants on a journey together of discovery. So welcome to this part of the journey, and I believe it's going to be very transformational. Now, I want to speak about this word casual to start off. You may think it's just a casual happenstance to join a free summit like this. But if we take the word casual and we flip 2 letters in the middle, we get the word causal. And those 2 letters now spell us. But who is us? I mean, who are we? I invite you to consider that us could stand for universal self, and we could stand for worldly expression. Are we not the worldly expression of a universal self? Creativity has been shown to be something that comes through us from our universal self. It's a transpersonal phenomenon that we tune into, we receive and transmit. For example, I gave myself credit for coming up with the word actionist years ago. I've been known to engage in activism, but rather than use the regular term of activist, who in my mind is somebody who is generally protesting against things they don't want, I've picked actionist as somebody who is moving towards things that I do want, a solutionary, taking action. And recently I found that word defined in the same way on the website of Gaia University. So clearly multiple people are tuning into the same concept, and perhaps it's obvious. Another example Also, perhaps an obvious one, but it's fun, so I'll share it. In 2013, I was volunteering on a permaculture farm in Costa Rica. An amazing experience, and I'll share more about permaculture. But at this time, we had so much abundance on the farm. And I was, during some of the parties, I was sharing to people, I was saying, we're doing abundance. We're dancing in abundance. And I thought I was clever, and I came up with this witticism of saying abundance and shaking our booty that we got from nature, if you know what I mean. And in retrospect, it's silly for me to claim such a thing. Such things belong to culture, and they come from this transpersonal source which I'm speaking about. I'll share another example which is less obvious, and I encourage you to look into it because it's just mind-blowing, actually. This is the work of Alan Green, who has a YouTube video called Shakespeare and the Great Pyramid. And these seemingly unrelated things are tied together by mathematical constants of physics, which are revealed to us through code that Alan, brilliant jazz musician turned master decoder, uncovered and revealed, that are hidden within the works of Shakespeare. These universal physical constants, and actually an indication of the geographical location of the Great Pyramid. Seemingly so random, right? And it goes deeper. There are more things that are seemingly arbitrary that we come up with, that we would attribute to our personal mental processes of creativity. But in fact, they are divinely inspired, if you will, coming from this universal self, a transpersonal intelligence that's beyond our personal faculties, that we work in tandem with as channels of. And so it's important that we realize this connection and our source of our creativity. And it transforms the concept that we have of our identity, right? Towards identifying as nature. And you'll find this is a theme many of the speakers in this summit will speak about. Now, Alan Green was a genius, or maybe I should say he has a genius, because the original ancient Greek word of genius meant nature spirit, somebody that's working in tandem with the human, kind of whispering insight and ideas, and also protection, as I read. And so it's a partnership rather than, this individual concept that's so prevalent for us now, and an over-involvement in the mental faculty, an over-emphasis on that personal creativity coming from a limited concept of an ego identity that is somehow separate from nature, from this partnership, which I'll speak more about. So now about my story. Let's start in 2012, because that's when the old world ended, right? The Mayan calendar came to a close and a new cycle began, and we started moving into more deeply this age of Aquarius and the new world that we are dreaming into being. At that time, I was on a bicycle tour here in Europe, and I discovered networks of exchange, namely WOOF. So this is Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. That's the acronym for WOOF. From my perspective, as somebody who is engaging with it as a work trader, as a volunteer, a traveler, on a journey of discovery and exploring ways to access other cultures and integrate with a broader family, our greater human family, through this network. there's also a host version of the acronym, and that's willing workers on organic farms, because the aspect of the exchange that hosts benefit from is labor from volunteers. But it's a free exchange, and there's a sacred reciprocity that we engage with of honoring the balance of give and take. And there's a whole spectrum of experiences that I have had, that anyone can have, by engaging with networks like this. And there are others such as Workaway and HelpX. And I've really made this my lifestyle for 12 years, since 2012 until last year. I've been doing work exchange, and I found out later that it's called Agorism, which is another ancient Greek word. Agora means the marketplace, and it's a concept of direct exchange, right? Without the intermediary of the bank and the monetary system. Whereas most people are working their day job to earn money to pay for accommodation and food and so forth, I was just cutting out the middleman as a habit to seek out opportunities where I could find people who would provide me with accommodation and with learning experiences and share their lifestyle to varying degrees, in exchange for my labor and the other gifts that I can offer, to people that I share space with. And it's funny how this is an alternative now, sort of like natural medicine has been labeled as alternative, whereas in the grand scheme, in the bigger picture, these are the original, this is the original way of, we would direct exchange. That's how we've always done things in history before the advent of the state and the military, the empire that imposed monetary, the innovation of money was something that came along with armies as a way to pay the soldiers so that they could provide for themselves by going to the people who have goods. Because obviously if you're fighting and destroying, you're not producing. So Agorism is actually not alternative, it's fundamental, it's the original. And I love how the word native is in alternative. I just mentioned that. Now, I've been shamed by people for choosing this lifestyle on many occasions, including my own family occasionally. And I'm so grateful to them that I have been able to explore in this way, that I've had the privilege and opportunity to become a world traveler and to be multicultural in my experience. And of course, there's been a great weaving of me working. I've worked, like many of the speakers in this summit, I worked in the family business, building houses, doing construction. And that helped me, that helped fuel the traveling aspect, because I'm engaging in agorism, direct exchange, and people at different places around the world. But in order to travel to those places and pay for things along the way, would still need to engage with this mainstream, right? The factual alternative, which has become the mainstream, the monetary system, the whole paradigm that's based on the military, like I was saying, that's based on colonialism. Now, I want to hold the intention that we transmute shame during this experience together. That this shame for being on the fringe, for moving in ways counter-culture against the mainstream, what's generally normal or acceptable, what's prescribed by the product of social engineering. We'll speak more about this. We can transmute this shame and transmute it into respect, and we can be an end to the cycle of shame and shameful behavior. And so I just want to open us up to that possibility. Where are we perpetuating a feeling of shame within ourselves? And why are we feeling ashamed? And why are others trying to shame us? Something for us to consider and contemplate, because it is a root element of our limitation, right? Of the lack of respect. They're quite opposite, right? Shaming and respect. And I'm speaking about the military. I'm speaking about the colonial phenomenon of brought about by, they call it the Age of Discovery, where these European powers went out and conquered the territories around the world and claimed the resources and systematically tried to decimate the indigenous culture. And this is where I want to speak about indigenous revival and how it relates with permaculture, which is what my journey has been all about. So to lead into that, the story of my discovery of permaculture. And in 2012, I began this career of work exchange, and the second place where I stayed showed to me the world of permaculture, which is essentially an indigenous revival. And I recently heard someone, Dr. David Martin, he said he doesn't use the word indigenous, he prefers persistent cultures. And persistent is a lot like permanent. Permaculture is short for permanent agriculture, or I like to think of it as permaculture because it's more all-encompassing than simply growing food, although that's foundational and fundamental. Now, indigenous cultures are reviving now at this turning of the age because they are resilient, because they are persistent, because they are permanent in nature, because they identify with and partner with nature, and they commune and communicate with their ecosystem rather than just trying to willfully dominate and subjugate it to serve selfish, short-sighted needs. Permaculture is what humans naturally create when they ask themselves the question, how is this decision that I make today going to positively affect my children's children's children, and so forth? And there's three fundamental ethics that are the core of permaculture, and that is earth care, people care, and fair share. So it's equitable distribution of resources. And actually, it's about feeling, it's about care, it's about engagement, partnership with the web of life, rather than cutting it down out from underneath our own feet. And why would we do such madness? That's clearly a self-destructive behavior. From where I'm standing, we have clearly been under mass hypnosis for many years, and I'll speak more about that. But this colonial phenomenon, this age of discovery, as it's been called, and I'm gonna say this is the new age of discovery, of self-discovery now, where we really realize who we are as this universal self, and the source of our creativity is embraced. But speaking about this military phenomenon, this colonialism, it's built on a doctrine. Like in the Age of Discovery, was actually founded on this thing called the Doctrine of Discovery, which was issued by the Pope. And he said, in the 1400s, to the colonial powers, go out and subjugate the world. All the non-Christian heathens, make them your slaves and take their land. And thankfully, this has recently been rescinded. But for all these years in between, it has stood as a legal document. So making this immoral action of colonialization something that's legal within the system that we use, our legal system, which is founded on religion, actually, and we can get into that. Many of the speakers will speak to that. And just because something is legal doesn't make it lawful. There's a difference between natural law and, as an actionist, I understand karma. Karma is the law of action. It's the law of cause and effect. It's parallel and quite the same with the golden rule, or I like to call it the golden law. As you sow, so shall you reap. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, because what goes around comes around, as we all know, right? So embracing that and moving beyond doctrine, beyond this this engineered normality where people think they have to look outside themselves for a source of authority. Right? This is what we're transitioning away from, in my understanding. The Aquarian Renaissance, doctrines are being transcended, and we are beginning to look within. Every individual has a unique way of connecting with the universal self and a valuable expression to embody and to share with the world. And transmuting our shame, which is the foundation of this religious, become legal system of colonial entrapment and slavery that we're dealing with for the last many thousands of years. It's about, we have to honor our unique connection and our unique expression of the divine, of the universal self. And that's our opportunity here, to transcend their doctrines. And there are some doctrines of sorts that are valuable. For example, the wisdom traditions, and we're going to receive some wisdom from traditions that are doctrine-esque in their nature. But the heart of the matter is this: the hour is here to claim your own authority as a worldly expression of universal self, endowed with the capacity to embody divinity, to live in full alignment with natural law, and fulfill your sacred responsibility as a steward of this beautiful earth. So that's where we're going. And on our way there, I'll share about my story after the discovery of permaculture. I immediately wanted to become more educated about this, how I can design my life from a space of the long view, of alignment and partnership with nature. And so I looked to take a permaculture design course. And of all places, I ended up in Costa Rica to take that, because there's this amazing educational center there that I had lived in, and it's called Punta Mona, a Center for Sustainable Living and Learning. And after I took the 3-week course, I ended up staying there for 6 months. And I was basically an Oompa Loompa in the real-life Willy Wonka chocolate factory. Actually, a farm, not a factory. And I was interning with Stephen Brooks, who's the real-life Willy Wonka. We were growing chocolate and amazing flavors, and he was singing Broadway tunes, and it was a beautiful experience and very inspiring and foundational for my journey moving forward from that. Also because while I was there, I was introduced to the healing arts. Some of the other volunteers were massage therapists, and I felt a calling to explore that, and I went and became a massage therapist myself afterwards, and that led to Reiki, and eventually to energy medicine, which is what I want to share about in our embodiment exercise today. My teacher in energy medicine is Christoph Melchizedek, and he has an online program that's called the Neo-Shamanic Society. And his teacher, one of them, was Barbara Brennan, who wrote the book Hands of Light. And so it's called Laying On of Hands Healing, and it's working with the layers of the human energy field. And rather than try to describe those layers, I'd rather that we explore them together. So I'd like to take 10 to 15 minutes now to drop into a meditative space together and explore our multidimensional anatomy. I'm just going to grab some water and then I will guide you in this. So prepare yourself if you're able, if you feel comfortable. Find a relaxing position where you can really tune in and observe your own self, your own body, your own spiritual multidimensional anatomy with me together. And so breathing deeply in and out, calling our full presence into the act of self-observation. Gathering any pieces or fragments that we've left in the past, that we've projected into the future, that are attracted or claimed temporarily by other relationships that we have, calling all of that energy, all of our presence, all of our self into this space together, into the here and now, and gathering together our spirits, our energy. We may be spread across the world geographically, but now we are coalescing and convening in one psychic space to share this moment of discovery, of self-observation, and relaxing into the fullness of our being and connecting with the primordial, with the pre-manifest. I invite you to bring your attention to your physical center, known as the Hara, the Dantian, just below your navel, in your center of gravity. In a woman's body, this is the womb space, the emptiness, the source. We all came from the womb. Now all of us are returning our attention to this womb, to the center, the source, the emptiness. Breathing. And I invite you to move your attention just below this womb space into the root, below the base of our spines, I invite you to feel with your hands, with your fingertips, the space between your legs where your energy is extending from your physical body into the physical body of the Mother Earth. Observing this connection, this root, are tapping into the Mother who is here to support and sustain us, to nourish us with her energy throughout life. We are always connected, and this root is our lifeline. Our eternal oneness, our lifelong oneness, our life. Mother Earth is alive and pulsing beneath us, and we are entraining our rhythm with hers. We are riding the waves of her cosmic cycle, spinning on her rotation around her beautiful central core. So feel your connection with that core and draw that energy up through the root. Just like the trees, we have a sustenance coming to us through our root from the Mother. And I invite you to bring this energy all throughout your field, throughout your physical body, feeling the vibration of the space in your root and allowing it to upwell and to propagate throughout your energy. And noticing the quality, the vision, the feeling, the sound. And slowly, invite our attention back up, bringing with it this root strength, this root nourishment, this life from the Mother. Back to the womb area, to our sacral center, to a space of watery emotionality, connecting with our creativity, with the womb, with our sexuality, with our capacity for reproduction, our capacity for generation. And feeling that creative impulse here in the body, in the energy field. Sensing the tone, the quality of this space around the womb, around the navel, and allowing it to spread and grow. Feeling our connection to one another. Filling this psychic space that we are sharing with the energy of creative impulse, of generosity. And noticing what there is here, what we're feeling, what is moving, what is staying still. And slowly, slowly moving up the spine to another power center. And this is truly our center of power. Our solar plexus, our radiant expression of our personality, of our sense of self, of our identity, of the light that we are in the world, that others see and enjoy and receive from us. Allow the solar power to grow and radiate and expand from your center, your solar center. And I invite you to vocalize on the exhales with a ha or a ho as you feel. Make a sound. Feel your power from your solar plexus expressed through your diaphragm. Ha. He. Hoo. Howie. And slowly, slowly, let us journey to the bridge between our personal power centers and the transpersonal, the spiritual, the landing place for our universal self, in the heart. And tune into the energy of love, of our shining, wonderful heart space. And I invite you to envision a growing of a tree, of a grove, of a whole forest sprouting from your heart and spreading, filling the air with green leaves and rooting to the lower energy centers, rooting to the earth. Here we are, bridging between our physicality and our spirituality through the rhythm of the heart. So feel that rhythm. Connect with the cycle, the cadence, the core, coursing the blood through your body and generating this massive field and forest. Branches reaching up to the sky. And with those branches we can draw our attention upwards to the big blue sky. And feel the energy of the throat. This is where we connect with spirit. The entrance after our mouth and nose of air into our body, of information that comes through the air, of communication, where we receive and where we transmit, where we express our impulses, all the feeling and integration from the various parts of us can hear transition from our inner world into the outer world, into expression, into causation, into templating and manifestation, into physical reality. And here's the place where we connect with our spiritual guidance, with the universal self, with our team of angels, our genius, companion spirits, the elemental energies, which may have messages for us now. Let us attune to their messages and attune to our universal self, the cause of us. May our presence here be a clean channel, a pure expression of the divine, of the universal, the cosmic, the godly, the goddess. And slowly, I invite us to bring our attention upwards, into the head, into the center of our brain, to the third eye center, and feel the vibration of this space, and allow it to transmute, to change, and to shift the way we perceive. Attune to this seat of the soul, the cosmic receiver of the third eye center, to our visionary capacity, our imaginative, our archetypal creativity. Our visions. Our wisdom. And allow it to propagate. Allow this energy to spread through our physical bodies. With your intention, let the third eye energy, this divine receiver, let it step down its vibration to integrate into the physical body, to touch every cell with a smile, with delight. Here is where we connect with our bliss body, our angelic body, our celestial self. And I invite you to invite that self inwards into the full body to take physicality, to land in the land of your body. To ground even through the root into the earth. To travel through the vertical flow of communication. And I invite you to open and to expand further upwards above the head into the space above, into the monadic, the oversoul, into the primordial egg, into the dance to a song before sound, into the freedom of creatorhood. The expansion of fullness, receiving from above, and landing here also. Placing this crown energy upon our heads, so that its energy too may transform and step into the level of physicality. And we may embody this divine energy. From the crown down to the root and beyond, into the earth core, resonating with our heart core, this great bridge, this forest bridge that we've grown here together. Giving thanks for the power of this presence that we share. Feet planted and participating. Thank you for your presence. And I'll return to the story about this mass hypnosis that I observed, about the history of social engineering, of the narrative of materialism that goes hand in hand with the patriarchal control paradigm of colonization, of systematic separation from the land. And I want to speak about it in terms of distraction. Let's look at this word, distraction. It's the undoing or the opposite of traction. And what is traction? It's our grip on the land. Right? If we don't have traction, we can't turn our potential into progress, and we spin our wheels, right? So you can see the danger of distraction. And this empire has the policy of distraction, of systematic separation that doesn't allow the attraction to occur, that we lose our grip on the earth. And she is the source of our power, of our sustenance. So we enter into a floating reality when we are distracted. We must overcome the distractions and get a grip again on the land. And embodiment is how we can do that. Our own body is our own land. so attune with it. And this was a prayerful experience we just shared. And I like to think of pray as an acronym. And that's practice rigorously attuning yourself. Be diligent to explore and to be in touch with your multidimensional self, and to bring all of yourself into your body, to be connected with Mother, with material, and not distracted in the mental world of illusions. Because this mass hypnosis is achieved by the imagery, by influence upon our creative imagination. The universal self it's a co-creative dance, right? There are many souls and beings which have their input into our collective psyche. And through the media, we are entertained and entrained into the direction that unfolds going forward. We become accustomed to seeing certain imagery, to understand certain things as normal. And natural law, right? The power of our agreements. Like I mentioned earlier, in permaculture, they call them the invisible structures. These are a dynamic exchange of co-creation that we are all participating with. All the human beings, the animals, the plants, the spirit world. And the more we can enter into agreements consciously with the fullness of our presence, overcoming distraction, the more we can be the captains of our own lives and claim our rightful property of this body, of this destiny, to claim our trajectory in the course that we choose based on our authentic desires, which come through us from our multidimensional, expansive self, universal self, into worldly expression. And there's no accident that the word vine is in divine. And actually, die can mean two. And so it could be meaning our two lineages, our two vines, our ancestry, our genetics, the sacred physical expression of life principle, the sacred evolution of life is expressing itself through us. And we have this moment right here, our opportunity to dance with it and to grow in a good way, to bring beauty and loving action through us into the world. And we are growing this forest of consciousness towards a higher, a more heavenly expression, a more beautiful world our hearts know is possible, overcoming the distraction, supporting one another, and integrating fullness. And we do this by cultivating certain feelings, by following our impulses. I invite you into great fullness. To integrate fullness is to be grateful. And we can help one another to cultivate this way of being, a blessed blessing of being a benevolent influence, of playing together and praying together, rigorously attuning yourself to contribute to permaculture, to contribute to a partnership with nature, to a conscious co-creation towards a world that is going to serve the future generations. And so, specifically, we can reverse the social engineering and reverse engineer our way into authenticity, connectivity, to a revival of indigenous ways of this persistent, life-aligned identity. Identity as nature, as collaborators, right? As blossoming flowers, if you will. And so I invite you into a deeper exploration. 1 week after this summit, I'll be holding a free webinar that's going to be a conversation and a co-creation rather than just me transmitting as I am now. And I'm calling it the upper root for various reasons. It's a root as in connecting with this divine vine of our lineage, of exploring our ancestry. And I'm sharing ongoing about my explorations into my personal ancestry. And I would love to support others who are interested in doing that. And even if the culture that your ancestors come from is not resonant with who you are, and you feel called to explore another culture that you can move with and connect to, that allows this permanent culture, this indigenous revival to take place within you, I want to support that too. And I want to be in conversation in this direction. The other reason I'm calling it the upper root is because we can uproot the social programs, the social engineering, the cultural memes and self-destructive tendencies that have been trained into us through a lifetime of exposure to all the messages of separation, to this distraction of the empire of the previous age. And together we can move into a higher trajectory, which is the other meaning of the upper root, as in a route that we can follow, a route that we can forge together towards our ascending pathway in a united partnership with our Mother Earth and all her beautiful life, and conceiving and rebirthing our identities during this time into an alignment, into an expression that allows our authentic creativity to shine and allows our divine lineage to express and to heal through us. And I'm here to hold space for that process of growth, of reconnection. And so, welcome you to the upper root. So it's going to be just 1 week after the 11th. So Friday, the 18th. And thank you for listening, and I welcome you with all my heart to explore further together, to share your feedback, to share your insights, and there is an opportunity for us to co-create at a deeper level. I'm looking for others who align and resonate with this vision of a reconnection, of conscious revival towards the Aquarian Renaissance, towards our indigenous selves and our more worldly expression, our more worldly connectedness, to bridge our cultures and to nurture the teacher within each of us, to nurture the master communicator within us, to turn our potential to express all that we are here to express and be the full gift that we are in the world, to turn that potential into progress through traction and releasing the distractions, helping each other move past them, embracing a new habit, new clothing for a new realm, a new way of being, a new customs and tradition for your life. And it's an opportunity to create it and to tune into what it's meant to, what form it's meant to take. You know, the ceremonial activities that we engage in, the routine rituals, behaviors that we choose to set within our habitual lifestyles as they grow and evolve are the true expression of natural law. Right? They are the true agree culture, if you will. We are all cultivating a garden of our life, a garden of consciousness. And so this is our opportunity to choose the upper root, to uproot that which is not serving us, and to express our law, our agreements, our customs with clarity. And we can help each other to find that clarity and to express it in such a way that it will be met with respect. And we must give respect in order to receive it. So that's part of our growing journey as well. So enough from me for now, and thank you so much for tuning in. Lots of love to you, and welcome along to the Aquarian Renaissance Indigenous Revival.